I've only begun covering Mortal Kombat with the last game, Mortal Kombat 11. But I have to say, in the short time that I have covered Mortal Kombat, I'm continually impressed with how strong the brand is. This game has been around since 1992 and is still going strong for a reason. Its fandom is incredible, and in that regard, with this new movie for Warner Brothers, it's like easy money. Because I have to say that while this trailer is good, and it's a lot of fun to see so many characters brought to life in live action with, current VFX and technology, the trailer is not as good as it could be. And I'm confused as to why you would make a Mortal Kombat movie today, considering the advancements in VFX and how big franchises are, and not have it be as good looking as the game. Because you could do that. That is possible with today's technology. So, and also the fact that there are like no stars. I mean, with all due respect to Jessica McNamee, who's playing Sonya Blade, she's not blowing me out of the water. I'm not like, oh, what a great discovery. I'm like, you could have cast a name there. I think a number of these castings, quite frankly, seem off. We're going to go through them as we go through the trailer. And I don't know why it's always so complicated when it comes to Warner Brothers movies, but it seems to me like there's a bit of a struggle between the game, people who make the game, and the people who make the movie as to who's in control. The same thing happens with DC. And I think it would be ridiculous it's ridiculous that anybody else would think they could become the driver of Mortal Kombat mythology. It's like really stupid, especially when they're not doing as good a job. I mean, if you're going to try and take something over, you got to come out guns blazing. And so, like, there are a couple of story changes that seem to be made here. And I think they're trying to introduce a character. We'll talk about my theory about who Cole Young really is. But I think they're trying to force a character into the game. But so far, he's not very well received. So good luck with that. And I do, the game is successful not only because of its really amazing the technological advancements and the way it looks, but also the story is so well done and it's very well put together. Johnny Cage is an important linchpin to the story because he brings the levity. His comedy, I mean, you'll see that in this trailer, Kano is filling that void, and it makes Kano very likable. But, having that comedic relief, I think, is very important at the center. And that's why I think Johnny Cage is missed. I'm totally cool with race bending Johnny Cage and having him be an Asian martial arts star, which is what I thought they were going to do with Louis Tan, but I don't know why they substituted, this Cole Young character instead. There's lots of stuff for us to go over, so we'll talk about it within the context of the trailer. And my favorite thing, of course, is the big fight at the end, because it looks the most like it came out of the video game. And I think that's very important. And what's with this 90s looking poster? That poster looks like it's right out of the 90s. It's only a teaser poster, so hopefully they have a better one up their sleeve, up Scorpion's sleeve. But that could be better. All right, here we go. Let's go through it. All right, so it's a red band, which is an interesting choice. I think they wanted to prove that they had the gore. Let's pause it right there. No, wait, not there. I have a better shot than I want to pause it in. So there. Okay, so anyway, I think they wanted to show that they really brought the gore, and that is important, but at the same time, it limits the numbers that a trailer can do because it's age-gated. So it's not going to be able to compete in that 24-hour, how many views did you get in 24 hours arena? All right, so they start out the trailer, and Sonya is telling what's happened. Cole Young allows them to have a new protagonist on the scene. Christopher Nolan totally changed the feeling of the word protagonist, for Tenet fans. That was, of course, John David Washington's character's actual, he was actually called. But anyway, Sonya Blade she has an excuse to deliver some backstory. And she says, we were in Brazil on a mission. And so I want to point out to you how cold Sub-Zero must have made it to make it this cold in Brazil. It looks so cool. It looks great. This reminds me actually of Dr. Zhivago. I am a big Dr. Zhivago fan. It has some amazing, if you've not seen that movie, do yourself a favor. But it has some beautiful snowscapes, and in the end it has this a home that's been frozen over, and it's just so stunning. And so this reminds me of that a little bit. I'm like, I don't think they want you to think Dr. Zhivago when you see this, but that's what I think. All right, so they're like, we want a mission in Brazil. Brazil, by the way, loves Mortal Kombat. So I hope they have an extended sequence in Brazil. So we get our first really good shot in his eyes. That's the window to the soul. But does Sub-Zero have a soul? Because these are two immortal fighters who are cursed, Sub-Zero and Scorpion. And you're going to learn their origin in this movie. They've been setting that up. I think this is kind of beautiful. I don't really know how I feel about their costumes overall. I understand them wanting to root them in actual armor from the time that these characters come from. But it doesn't look as cool as the video game. Like, it just looks a little less cool. But this shot is nice. I like the intricacies of the detail work on the mask and that his eyes themselves seem frozen over. And, I have to say, poor Joe Taslim from the Raid, you can't see him at all, really. But I think he's doing a lot with the small little window into his soul, into his character that he's allowed to work with. And so I think that's pretty impressive. I'm like, there's a man in there. All right. So, by the way, Joe Taslim is by far and away the best fighter in this movie. And you can see it. They should have worked harder to get more other good fighters. He's way more advanced than everybody else, and you can see that in his movements. Like here, McCad Brooks from Supergirl, we'll talk about him when we get a little bit of a better shot at him, but he just can't move the same as Joe Taslim does. I mean, it's just not a fair fight. I'm like, how are you guys going to be on screen together? You just can't compete with Joe. So I love the way he grabs the gun, and I love that he freezes the bullet, right? So he not only starts to freeze the gun, but Jax is like, I'm still gonna try and shoot you. I'd be like, why would you make him more upset? And Jax is gonna pay for that in a minute. But, and so not only does he freeze the front of the gun, Sub-Zero, but he freezes it again as the bullet fires. And look, it looks like he fired buckshot at him. That would make Sub-Zero particularly upset. He's like, did you just fire buckshot at me? What the heck? Or maybe somehow the bullet broke. I'm not quite sure. It's why it's lots of different. I don't really think the military uses buckshot. Maybe they do, but it's interesting. But I like that Sub-Zero has been doing this for so long and is so experienced that he can take a moment to find the beauty in his work. He's like, that's pretty nice. It's always beautiful whenever I have to kill someone. And then, so there, he does the arm freeze thing. That's one of the funny things about Jax. When I watched the recent animated movie, I was like, oh, why does Jax have two arms? And now every time it's like waiting for Jax to lose his arms. And that's particularly gruesome. I don't know what's happening there. I don't know why it's all pink and bloody at the ends there. But I can see why he's horrified. I'd be like, just don't look, buddy. Look away. He's going to rip your arms off like a Band-Aid. Oh, it's bad. And then he does it. Oh, I can't believe he didn't bleed out from that. There are lots of big veins, arteries in your arms, man. Oh, that's so gross. That got the biggest reaction out of me when I did the trailer reaction. But that's what you want with Mortal Kombat. So the fact that it checks that box is very important. So there's Sonya Blade. Meh. I think they could have done better considering the history of the character, the casting history as well. So she's like, they have Scorpion and Sub-Zero. You each get your own logo. Now here they're talking and she's like, so they're talking about this birthmark. And many of you have pointed out the ridiculous line where Jax has to have a birthmark explained to him. It's a birthmark. What? It means I was born with it. That's true. That's very stupid. Why not just say I was born with this? Now, my first thought is, I have two things on this. First, if you're born with it, why wouldn't that be a bigger deal? You would think that this is a modern day story, that would be on social media. If a baby was born and multiple babies were born with this mark on them. I mean, that's like a tattoo. Baby, that's not even like it kind of looks like the Mortal Kombat symbol. That is the Mortal Kombat symbol. So babies coming out with full-blown tattoos, I think would be big news. It would certainly trend on Twitter. So, and then also they say, this fighter that we met in Brazil, Sub-Zero, had this as well. I'm like, he's covered head to toe. How did you see that? So I'm curious as to how they saw that. That's an invitation. So he's a cage fighter, much like Wolverine. A lot of these fighters also, I'm not feeling the total force. Louis Tan, though, is a very experienced stunt person, though, to be fair. He's still no Joe Taslim from this trailer. So it's like, yeah, it's, that birthmark is an invite. It's an invitation. So there you can see Mileena from the back. Although it looks almost like she's wearing blue, right? So, I mean, she's the clone, the evil clone of Katana. One wears pink, one wears blue. And so you would think that looks like maybe it's purple and just weird color correction. Because I don't think that Katana ever uses size or sai. I don't know the plural of the sai. All right, so they're like, for centuries, people have been fighting in this tournament. And that illustration to me looks a little bit too modern. I'd be like, did you just draw this, Sonya? So look, they're doing the Charlie Day vision board, right? They're like, look, we put all this together. Let me show it to you, Cole. Now that's a cool shot. I like Sub-Zero. His ability to decorate is impressive. So these are our two, I'm not sure if they're both gods. I know Raiden is a god. He's over there on the right. And then on the left, I'm pretty sure that's Shang Tsung, who we'll talk about a little bit more when we again get a better shot at him. But they often have little tete-a-tetes on the side. They're like, you know, they're just playing with the rest of us. So that seems like that's what's going on here too. So look, this is important. All right, so look, he looks in the mirror and he sees Scorpion. My guess, based on the rest of this trailer, I know there have been a lot of leaks, but I didn't want to go look up all the leaks. But I'll tell you my guess based on this. I would suspect that Cole Young is related to Scorpion. I think Scorpion's whole family is supposed to get killed at the beginning of the movie, but maybe somehow he has a relative. His family line continues. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to introduce, based on the armor that Cole Young seems to adopt later on in this movie, a Scorpion Jr. character, you know, right? Like cool hip Scorpion, you know, like matinee idol Scorpion. And I'm like, I think you would need a better actor than Louis Tan to really sell that. Although maybe Louis Tan will convince me of his acting ability in this movie. What I've seen so far, I feel needs some work. All right, so here you can see, I'm being real honest about this trailer. All right, so, you know, as we always should be with everything. So here we see, like, this is the origin of Scorpion, which they've talked about extensively in interviews. And this is how he comes up with his trademark weapon. So he goes into his wife's garden. He's like, yoink. And he makes a pretty impressive weapon. This is beautiful. His wife's garden, by the way, is stunning. Look at those flowers. It's a paradise, you jerks. How dare you steal this from him? And this actor, Hiroki Sanada, has said that he really likes playing a family man turned assassin, turned immortal assassin. So I'm interested to see shades of that. If he can really bring some great acting to the table, I'll forgive that his martial arts moves aren't as sharp and as strong as Joe Taslim's. Look, he's wearing yellow even back then. So, wow, he's really good at it. Those are some Scorpion moves. He looks great. Those moves were pretty good. I think maybe the armor doesn't really work on him. The armor, we'll talk about the armor when we see it again. This is one of my favorite shots. I love the Japanese screen and the blood on it. That's really cool. That actually reminds me of the recent animated movie, which was quite good. So they're like, we're going to go to this tournament, man, but let's first beat each other up so we can see our moves. You know how that goes in movies. So here's Kano. Some of you said he starts out as a good guy, then turns bad, so keep an eye on him. The jokes write themselves. All right, so anyway, I don't know how he got that in his head as someone from Earth, but it looks effective. I'm now throwing my allegiance to this character because he has the jokes. I like the funny, and I think it's important. I think if it's done well, it's fun. So there's Ludi Lin, who's playing Liu Kang, who you've seen, of course, from Black Mirror, and he almost became Shang-Chi for Marvel. He was one of the finalists. So this is what he decided to do as his other choice, and I think he's pretty good. I don't know if the long hair really works on him, to be honest with you, but I'm a big Ludi Lin fan, so I'm curious to see what he does here. He's supposed to be a major character. Liu Kang in other versions of Mortal Kombat has been like the chosen one. So making Cole Young like the chosen one, I feel really doesn't give Ludi Lin's character, you know, enough to do. But we'll see. I do like his fireball effect. Some of you are wondering how he can generate flames. I'm sure the movie will explain it to us. That's pretty cool. I'm just not liking the hair on him. It just doesn't work. Jax's arms are pretty good, though. That is an upgrade. I don't know who the heck he's fighting, but that guy doesn't look like he's going to last very long. I think McCad Brooks isn't big enough, in my opinion, to play Jax. That's just my opinion. But I do like the mustache on him. I think that works for him. Now, this is funny. When we first see Kung Lao, I didn't think much of him. I don't think he looks that good in that hat. But when he takes the hat off, he's adorable. There he has a great look. I like him much better without the hat on. I'd be like, don't wear that hat. Carry it like a shield, like Captain America. Captain America doesn't wear a shield on his head. All right, so here comes Raiden. What an entrance. He and Thor are going to get a lot of comparisons. Also, I like the flowers here, too. That's very beautiful. I appreciate the little extra effort there. So pretty. Maybe he's coming to Scorpion earlier on in the movie. A simpler time when there were flowers. I don't know how much I like his look, though. He seems like he doesn't have enough going on under his hat. I'm like, you just look like a modern guy wearing a hat. Although his eyes are glowing, which obviously is a dead giveaway that he has superpowers. So I like that the world, the fate or something is in your hands, and Jax is like, this is what my hand looks like now. Tear. I think that's funny. I'm like, I can see the nuts and bolts. That's pretty cool design. Oh, so there's Raiden. You know, typically in the game, Raiden assembles his fighters to take on Shang Tsung's fighters, the good guys versus the bad guys. That there are two teams, so you can see everybody. There's Sonya, Cole, Kung Lao, Liu Kang, and Kano, and then there's Kitana as a fan. She's like, I wish I was actually standing here, but I guess my fan will just have to take my place. Damn it. So, you know, I guess they're going to Outer World or whatever to have this competition. There's Scorpion making his own entrance, and I think that this is Cole that he's talking to. It's hard to see, but Cole seems to adopt like some yellow armor, which of course is Scorpion's colors, his trademark color, when he decides to start fighting. I'm like, why do you get armor? Nobody else is really wearing armor. But I think that their armor, speaking of armor, I think Scorpion and Sub-Zero's armor covers just a bit too much of them, and it looks a little bit unwieldy. It doesn't look like it's for martial arts. You know, I think in ancient Japan and stuff, they didn't do martial arts if they were using this armor. You know, it was either or kind of a situation. So I think mixing them doesn't really work. Maybe that's why it doesn't seem to fit. He's like, I'm your ancestor. And that is a very nice shot. This reminds me of, I think it's a direct shot actually out of Indiana Jones, the first one, right? Raiders of the Lost Ark. But that's cool that Liu Kang gets to do it. I think that's Liu Kang. So we get some quick shots. Now this is Mileena. Now there's a wishful thinking that maybe she will get her full open mouth later on in the movie. But I think that not to have it in the trailer and she just has blood on both sides of her mouth, it's like one of those things where you're like, I don't see why you would do that. You're just opening yourself up to criticism. So, and also it's not very nice to Sissy Stringer, who's playing the character, because you're setting her up to be a subpar Mileena right out of the gate. You want to give her the maximum opportunity to please fans. Her teeth are kind of janky, so that's kind of cool. So look there is, I wonder if we'll actually see him, but that is Shao Kahn, who is like the evil lord, like, who's Shang Tsung's boss. And he is Mileena's creator, and he is the stepfather of Kitana. So if he's here, that means maybe Sindel's not far behind. Pretty cool. So many characters. So there is Shang Tsung. And with all due respect to Chin Han, he's just how do they not use Kari Hiroki Tagawa, who was just used in Mortal Kombat 11? He's still perfectly capable of playing this role. So it seems weird to replace him with someone you're like, that's not the right guy. I think that's probably everyone's reaction when they see this. And he's with Sub-Zero and Mileena. So those are the bad guys. It's quite the hierarchy in Mortal Kombat. So there you see Sub-Zero emerging from, I don't know what kind of dust that is, because it's not an ice cloud. It's not like it's just some kind of smoke. And then I like that fire usage. But look at this. Liu Kang can make fire shapes. Is he fighting someone or putting on a show? And that's the Mortal Kombat dragon, so that's pretty cool. And then right up here, you see Goro, and I agree with you. While it's cool to see Goro, and I believe that's Cole Young in his new armor, I do think the CGI looks a little off. And I wonder how they're going to explain where he came from. All right. Now I think that's Sub-Zero. See, the colors aren't distinct enough. You know, when the game first started, early days, they had different colors to differentiate the players with the rudimentary graphics. So I'm like, the colors were important. That's how we could tell who everybody was. So please don't mute the colors in the movie so I can't tell immediately who I'm looking at. I should look at this and be like, blue. And I guess the ice is a dead giveaway, but it seems like he's not wearing blue. But look, that ice sword's pretty sweet. So they both have blue and yellow eyes. That's pretty neat. Like a snake and like a person made of ice. So he says, I am Sub-Zero. He doesn't look as good in that shot. He does better with a little bit of an eye light. See, it's just a little bulky. It doesn't look quite as good. I hope they explain why they have to wear these face masks. Can they not breathe the normal, Earth air? So this is great. I love this. I love the whole setting. It's so cool. Again, right out of Dr. Zhivago, so I really think it's beautiful. And then look, Joe Taslim's just better at swinging that blade. His ice blade. It gives him more confidence. He's like, my sword is cooler than yours. So, and look, he's able to do this kick off of the wall. And I love this fight, though. So we see Scorpion. It's already he got his bloody spike. He's ready to go. And so they're fighting. And I love that Sub-Zero freezes Scorpion's own blood and then stabs him with his own blood. That's so Mortal Kombat. It's perfect. And then this is so Mortal Kombat. I love it. That is just, and the way it's filmed, it seems very much like the game. So that's, to me, when it's the coolest. I hope all the fight scenes take on that feel. So this is also my favorite shot of Scorpion when he gets ready to, use his classic weapon. But again, still, he doesn't look as cool as the cover of the most recent Mortal Kombat game, and I don't know how that could be. Like, how did they let that happen? Like, also, I think their masks kind of move around a little bit. Like, it just doesn't fit quite well. I'd be like, this should be really snug and should always look cool. And he does the get over here line, which is very cool. That is very neat. And then, so this is important. We were all like, woo, in the reaction, being all excited that he said it. But look, he's taking Sub-Zero away from Cole Young because he's his relative. He's like, get away from my great relative. My great, forget it, a lot of greats grandson. So, and Cole Young, I guess, came to save him. I think that's why Cole Young is wearing yellow. So we'll see if that's the case. And then you have the logo, which is a little muted, in my opinion. I would have amped it up a little bit. And so then we have the classic finish him, right? Although I gotta say, Shinhan just doesn't look as cool as Tagawa. He just doesn't look as cool. I'm sorry, I feel bad. But I mean, it's the truth. So we have a lot of quick shots, right? So we see Jax take out that other guy who also seems to have metal arms. My metal arms are better than yours. Then we see, I don't know where Sonya got that gun from, and there's Cole in the middle. And many of you believe that's Mileena. I don't know why her blood is pink, but it's in character. And so maybe she'll be resurrected with the mouth thing. Then we see Scorpion really taking care of those people. There's a better shot of Molina, but still, how can she? Why isn't she wearing purple? These are inexcusable things that have been left out. I don't know what the heck Kano is fighting, but it seems like something Kano would fight. It's like a walking Komodo dragon. Like, Komodo dragons are pretty scary as is. So he pulls out his heart, and this is a great line at the end. And he's like, Kano wins, which is, what they say at the end of the fight, but they have an announcer say it. And that's pretty funny. He looks great. He looks like a fun guy to have at a party, which is what Kano is basically. Oh, look, he has normal eyes here, it seems. Does he? Oh, so maybe this is like when maybe he gets the upgrade because he doesn't have a electronic eye here. Isn't it the other eye that gets replaced, though? Yeah. So why is the slashes, no, this eye's fine. The one that has no scars? Let's put some scars on that side and put the eye in there. I don't understand that. And he's like, it's beautiful. It's effing beautiful, man. And that's how many of you feel about this trailer. All right, so we've broken it down. What are your theories? What do you think of the changes that have been made? Do you understand why they've made changes? What do you like? What do you wish was a little different? And what do you think of some of the casting decisions? Share those thoughts down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.